Now that's the solar panel I added, and I assumed that's where the leak was coming from. So I recalked that, and you can see a ton of caulk right there. The water will typically drip out of here, and it runs along the seam here. So here's your exterior fan. Here's the AC duct. Hope everybody's enjoying that view back there. All right, good morning, everyone. It's going to rain today, so I came back up on the roof, and I'm going to isolate. That tells me that it's most likely this foot for the solar panel again, so I'm going to have to remove all of that caulking and then reapply it. And what I believe was the water was coming down, and it was pushed down so hard there was no water allowed to go underneath this cable, so it was building up and building a small little pond right here. If you have a roof leak anywhere in your trailer, particularly on the roof, and you see it, it's typically very noticeable because it's going to drip on this center panel. Woke up in the morning feeling good today, cause the sun's shining in my neighborhood today. Hello everyone, and welcome to the roof. I have a bit of a leak inside when it rains really, really hard. So I'm gonna come up here and check out a few things and show you where I think it might be, but I'm not positive. So let's get on the roof. Now, there's a gutter here, I'll call it, and there's a gutter on the other side. The gutter on that side is right where your awning is. The gutter over here is a little higher than the awning. But this is a frame rail, and then you have rivets going across this way. So as long as you stay at the crossroads, so to speak, of those rivets. Now, I'll put my knee down here, but I do it on a rib, and do it on a rib, and do it on a rib. But anywhere else, I'm very, very leery to put any weight or pressure because it will bend the roof. So getting up here is not always easy. But I'm going to pull off my air conditioned cover for two reasons. One, there's bolts that hold these things in, and if they're not tight, water could pool up here, and that could be where my little leak is coming from. It could be from this vent tube, it could be from this here, the skylight, it could be from that solar panel. Now that's the solar panel I added, and I assumed that's where the leak was coming from. So I recalked that, and you can see a ton of caulk right there on this back corner here. But that thing was, I thought that's where the leak was originally coming from, but it might not be. So I'm just going to pull this cover off. I'm doing this for two reasons. One, I want to inspect the coils and make sure they're clean. And two, I want to check everything in here and make sure everything's still tight because it's been a while since I've looked in here. So that pops off easy. I can look around here. My coils look pretty clean. Got to pull a few leaves in here, but that's okay. If these are ever dirty, you can get some cleaner from Lowe's or Home Depot and a little brush to clean these coils out, because if they're super dirty, they're not going to dissipate the heat the way they need to, and your air conditioner will be much less efficient. Also want to check this, I call it the bird cage or the hamster wheel fan motor. Those bolts have been known to back out, and I had that problem on my last rig. But these look okay. There's an old wasp nest. But everything up here looks to be good to go. And when I look underneath, I don't see anything problematic. So I'll reinstall this cover. If you ever take this thing off, pushing pressure down here while you're trying to put these screws in or out can be troublesome. So get them all started hand tight first, and if you can look and see where the holes are, because it's not always easy to line up. Now, I took them out with my power drill, but I'm going to put them back in with a regular screwdriver. And again, just being mindful where you put that knee every time, because it's very easy to bend your roof. Hope everybody's enjoying that view back there. the AC vents are running along right about here. Then you have this max air fan. So somewhere water's coming in above the max air fan because of where it leaks on the inside. So I look for water pooling. Like, where would water pool when it rains super hard? So it builds up here, builds up here. That's what made me think it may be coming in under the AC somewhere, but I don't know. It's so impossible to tell unless it's just something blatantly obvious where the water's coming in. But it's pooling somewhere and it's coming in. It's not much. It's just a little bit. But I thought it might be under the AC around this thing somewhere. And I could probably add a little bit of caulking right here. But what I'm really trying to do is see if anything's pulling up super easy. Like, where would it be coming in at? Obviously, the solar panel, that's one thing I added, and that's why I added this extra caulking up here, because I thought that's maybe where it was. And it still might be. I just may have missed that caulking some. But I don't know how, man. That thing is gooped up big time. So it could be here. I mean, if it's coming through the drain tube, it'd just go down the drain, so that wouldn't be a big deal. It's coming in through the skylight part. Maybe. The only way it could be coming in there is to go down underneath and here or around this caulking, but it all looks good. So I truly have no idea where it's coming in at, but it's somewhere in this region here because it's above that center panel that goes all the way through on the inside. And it's near the air conditioning ducts, which is, again, right here. So that's why I thought it was this one. And again, it still might be that one. I just can't see any reason or any spot where it would be easy to come in and out of right there. And again, I've gooped that, and as long as it's raining lightly, it's not a problem. It's just when it's a torrential downpour, and that's where I think water may be building up top here and coming in something where it's pooling. That's why I thought the air condition. I don't see any glaring obvious things. The air condition is tight to the roof, so I don't know. I'm at a loss. And also, if you've ever wondered, up here on the front corner of your Airstream is a little white disc about that tall. If you have the AT&T, or what used to be AT&T, now called Airstream Connect antenna, that's where the antenna would be mounted to the roof, and all the wiring is run down there. So that's a pre-wire and a pre-cut hole for it. All right, folks, I have no idea. Nothing is glaringly obvious. So, and it's a small drip. It's nothing big. Not something I'm super overly concerned with. I do want to get it fixed, but it's not something that's detriment. And oddly enough, it drips right in the toilet when it does drip. I'm gonna go take the AC vents out and see what I might be able to see on the inside. So here in the bathroom, the water will typically drip out of here and it runs along the seam here. So here's your exterior fan, here's the AC duct. So again, that's why that solar panel connects to about right here. That's what made me think the water was coming in there, because it would come down and drip on here, or go across that vent and then hit here and then come out this little spot. And it's a drip every 30 seconds or a minute when it's raining really hard, like over an inch an hour. But the other thing here is the skylight right on the other side of here, and then your main AC connections up front. But the AC actually starts connecting right in this area here, which made me think if it's pooling underneath there and the water's coming in, it can run down, and that's just the easiest spot for it to get out. All right, good morning, everyone. It's going to rain today, so I came back up on the roof, and I'm going to isolate, or attempt to isolate, this leak. So I'm taking this trash bag here, and I'm going to cover up a significant portion of this front corner here on the solar panel. So it's supposed to be a pretty hefty torrential downpour this afternoon, so I should know pretty quickly if there are no leaks. Then that's most likely the culprit. If there's still leaks, I'll cover up something else next time. So I'm back up here on the roof again, and my trash bag that I added, it rained a couple days, not super hard, but it did rain enough, and I didn't see that there were no leaking in the roof, so that tells me that it's most likely this foot for the solar panel again. So I'm going to have to remove all of that caulking and then reapply it. But it's about 20 degrees out right now, so it's pretty cold, and we're going to travel, so I'm going to wait till I get down to, we're headed down to Florida, so wait till I get down there and do a little bit better work when it's warmer. So whenever I get that done, I'll provide everybody with an update. So I'm on the roof again, and I have removed most of the caulking from previous caulking job, and now I'm waiting on Blair to get back with some glue gun so I can finish removing some of this tape. So where I had taped up this spot, some of the duct tape stuck. So Gorilla duct tape is amazing. What I have determined, or I'm 99% sure what happened. So this cable right here comes underneath, and I just adjusted it. So before it was right behind this panel here, and what I believe was the water was coming down, and it was pushed down so hard there was no water allowed to go underneath this cable, so it was building up and building a small little pond right here, and the water was coming in the back side of that. So the top of it was caulked really well, but underneath there it's really hard to caulk that. So I believe the water was pushing, like the hard rain, when it would just puddle up, I think it was pushing back underneath. So I've got to do some extra special care to build up that around the bottom underneath that when I recaulk it. So that's going to be my next challenge, is to get that done. And I'm working from an odd angle because I can't see over there very well. I guess I can move over there, but it's easier when you've got a platform to stand on and lean into this way. But we'll get that sorted out. And it is super windy up here, so all of my stuff's been flying off, which is always a pain. All right, so I've recaulked everything. I got a very good bead underneath there, so we'll see how that works out. And next time we have a hard rain, and I've also adjusted this cord some so it has some leeway. So hopefully it'll work out. Now I'm just waiting on the glue gun to get back, and I'll get the rest of this tape off here and finish cleaning up the roof. All right, I'm not sure if you noticed when I was up there, the latter half of the video, recaulking the foot, solar panel foot, I had this pad that my knees were on. This is just a standard gardening pad that you can get most any hardware store or Walmart or Amazon. And if I can find the Amazon link to one, I'll put it in the description down below. But these things save your knees and potentially save your roof from getting bent. So if you're going to get up there and do any work for any length of time, I recommend, if you can get some spray adhesive glue, get 2 of these pads and maybe cut it in half long ways, and then get you a piece of flat board. So I have a pad, a flat board, and another pad. So one pad goes on the roof, so it keeps the roof from getting bent up, and it provides some stability with the board in there, and then a pad for your knees. If you go back and watch the video where I installed the Easy Start on the air conditioner, I used a pad very similar to that. So it had foam, board, foam, and any kind of hard plastic or piece of wood or something like that would be very, very good. So anyway, I keep this in the back of the truck in case I have to do something for a long time on my knees or something. I also use the Airstream mat to lean on in grass and things like that. It really depends on what I'm going to do and how long I'm going to stay down on my knees. But anyway, it's a just easy something you may want to get for climbing on your roof or doing work around your rig, just a little gardening pad. End result and final thoughts on the roof leak. If you have a roof leak anywhere in your trailer, particularly on the roof, and you see it, it's typically very noticeable because it's going to drip on this center panel. Now, if you have the newer model rig, 2024 or newer, the interior panels are a little different, or if you have an older rig where it's not aluminum on the inside, the interior panels are different. So you'll have to find leaks otherwhere. Now, if you're not familiar with Rick and Lisa from the Right Life, a wonderful couple, they thought they had a roof leak, but it was actually a C-channel leak back here in the back corner causing their issues. And you can see his whole video series on removing the floor, replacing the floor, repairing the floor, and things like that. Wonderful series. So if you have a soft spot in your floor somewhere, maybe something you want to watch. But if you have a roof leak, and we had a leak on this rig now, and we had a leak on our last rig, and both are caused by added solar panels after. Now, the first trailer, I didn't add the solar panel, the dealership did, but this time I added the solar panel. I genuinely believe what I described up on the roof, it was pooling caused by the solar panel wire pressed between the roof and the solar panel itself, so caused a seal there, which caused the water to back up and push in the backside of that foot. So I think I've got that sorted out now, and my little leak check up there proved that it didn't cause any more leaking, so I'm happy with that setup. The trash bag covering up thing, I think, is something you can do to isolate very, very simply. So if you got a garden hose and you can put some water out, or you know it's going to rain really hard over some time, and you have noticed a leak inside, meaning something dripping, coming down from your ceiling, dripping in, and you want to go isolate, I would get near that area and start one component, like cover up one component at a time. So you notice I cover up basically just the foot of that solar panel. If that process hadn't worked, I would have covered up the roof vent, then I would have covered up the skylight, then I would have covered up the air conditioner, then I would have covered up the fantastic fan or whatever else is up there. I would have covered it up individually to see if it didn't work. So caulking is pretty easy. And I didn't show you very much in the video of the caulking, but I used a paint scraper to get off the big chunks of caulking, and then I used a plastic razor blade to finalize what that was, and a little flat tip screwdriver to get in some of the nooks and crannies I couldn't get to with those two devices, because the solar panel is only that far off the roof, so it's pretty tight getting behind it. But I'll put a link to all those things down in this video description down below. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out, and love to help you out and love to chat with you about what you do for yours. Thank you very much for joining me today, and happy adventures, everyone.